Welcome back. We're doing hot topics.
So we're talking about the motherland and Africa. So I have a question for you, a little controversial. Okay. Do you think that there is a difference between Africans and African Americans?
No. No difference. Okay. Right. Black is black. That's me. That's my opinion.
Right.
Tell us more.
Right.
I mean, I have a daughter. She's born here. She's African American. I'm African. Her mother's African from Zimbabwe. Black is black. Have you seen any difference in our skin color?
But she's your child.
Keep it moving. She ain't gonna have a different skin color.
I guess I tend to agree with Sneaky because it's like us as Africans or immigrants, we had to, I guess, go through colonialism and understand our parents going through colonialism and having that traced down. And then also being African American, you have African Americans and descendants of slaves kind of having the same effect. So we, in essence, to me, feel like we've gone through the same things just on different continents. Right. And in the end, we're the same, right? We suffer the same, we rejoice the same. There's so many similarities. You're cooking oxtail in Africa, they cook an oxtail. In the islands, we cook an oxtail down here. You know what I mean? Like there's so many blends of culture that, to me, we are one.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with that. And I think there's always that conversation where one group feels like the other group looks down on the other group, right? So like African Americans feel like Africans look down on them. There's that notion that we say like African Americans don't have culture and all this other stuff, but if you think about it, they do. I mean, they
whole lot of culture.
Yeah, and they were forced to come here and adapt. And like Tinema was saying, they have struggles that our struggles are kind of like similar. You know, we parallel. They've fought for education and human rights and all of these things that we fought for in Africa as well to free ourselves from colonialism. So I feel like we have a lot of similarities. And in terms of culture, I mean, it's only natural that our cultures are going to differ because we're growing up and being exposed to different things at different times. But essentially, in terms of genetic makeup and whatnot, I mean, we are essentially the same. But also, I feel like African Americans maybe have also a wider variety in terms of genetic makeup because they've come from here and they've had, you know, they've been exposed to different races, cultures.
When it comes to history, right? If you like go back, sometimes you don't find history. Like if you go back sometimes in Africa, you might not have your great-great-grandmother's picture,
right? But
a lot of people have that. Like they, you know, we didn't have that, you know, but here there's a lot. I mean, their history is rich and, you know, our children, you know, are learning about it. If you go down the other way, you might not find that information. They'll be like, oh, we don't have that information. Like what is your, like when you go to the doctor and they tell you, okay, family history.
Right. Yeah.
You might not know.
Right.
But over here, maybe if they look into some records, they'll be able to see. So, yeah, we're the same.
Yeah. No, for me, so like, okay, first of all, like I'm from Canada, right? So I feel like coming to America was such a big difference. There's only like 5 black people in Canada.
They're doing the second coming to America, by the way.
Oh yeah. there's like 5 black people in Canada. We gonna claim all y'all, okay? African, Caribbean, black, you know, descendant of slaves. You know, the Underground Railroad went there. Like, we gonna take all y'all. So we like, no, we black. All 5 of us, we black. So here though, like the African Americans in America
have such a strong history. Like, and they have a culture. There's a culture. First of all, African American history is American history because
thank you.
That
doesn't start with slavery.
Right, it doesn't start with there. But the way that black people in general, every person, well, I don't care if you guys were in Africa, if you went to the Caribbean, so you're Afro-Caribbean, you know, a slave boat went this way, or a slave boat went that way, went to America, we're still the same people. Right. And that blood, that creativity, that black girl magic, that black boy joy, is just in our veins. So it's like, yeah, we are gonna be different, but we're from the same people. And we've had different and similar struggles, right? Whether it's colonialism or slavery, but throughout that, we were able to adapt and create it and find our own and find some joy. That's why we all like to dance and move. You guys can't tell me I ain't African.
The dances are like the same.
Right? Exactly. And like you said, the food and my hair, this is Italian. I was like, you African girl.
That's very true. But you know what I find sometimes is kind of sad. Like is growing up in Zimbabwe, did you learn Zimbabwean history? Like deep Zimbabwean history?
Nope. My daughter has learned a lot of history though here.
Yeah,
She tells me
like
something
American history. Yeah, is like taught and it's like really.
Those are
Yeah,
parts.
well, I would say this because I mean, I did basically grow up in America. There is American history, then you go maybe wherever state you're in, you do Texas history, but sometimes it's revisionist history, but sometimes it's obviously glossed over. Certain things are glossed over and not. You'll read about the Civil War and they'll go into depth about the Civil War, but there's other things that they leave out or gloss over.
Well, movies like Black Panther are really important because they kind of help bridge that gap a little bit. There were a lot more African Americans who felt like, yes, that's us, we're being represented. Africans felt the same way. They speak what Ndebele or Zulu in there, and they show a lot of like African tribes and whatnot. So I appreciate movies that kind of like help, or movements. I can't even say Black Panther was just a movie. It was like a movement. It was just like this wave of like pride.
Oh, and that's great because I feel like a lot of times, like there was a couple of like African people like when I was growing up, and like sometimes people make fun of them like a lot. You know what I mean? So like the way you were talking about like like we were like, oh, like you ever heard like African booty scratcher?
Yeah,
Like,
honestly,
that
was like a term.
I don't even know what that means, but I just know that term. Like you be like, shut up, you African booty scratcher.
Yeah.
Like what? I thought it was booby scratcher, but I thought it was booty scratcher, and I was like, I still don't get it. Like, but that was like a diss.
Well, yeah, there was
You know
all
what I mean?
throughout elementary school.
Right, and people like some people that were African didn't want no one to know they were African. They would be like, "No, I'm Jamaican." Like that is not a Jamaican accent. Okay, okay, but your parents, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to say, but like, and like I know this one girl, Shamina. She used to wear like kente cloth, like she's like whatever. She had dress, she had like a little like, and we were just like, whoa. I remember like it was kind of like whoa, but now like you don't see like everyone is trying it, so it's like it's one of those things where it's like it took like a lot of years, but I feel like it's kind of like now we're one people. We're one people from one like nation originally, and I'm just so happy that we're finally coming together, and that's kind of you know what I mean?
Like I'll tell you one thing, when Barack Obama won his presidency, girl, I don't think there was a country on the continent of Africa that was not celebrating. I mean, it brought, I don't even know if people know the wave that it brought, but it brought a hope all over the world.
Yes.
And this was an American president. Everybody's Africa just saying, we have hope.
We all claimed him.
Oh yeah, we have him too.
My president is black. It's like you don't have a president, you have a prime minister now, but he's still black.
Yeah. No, awesome. Thanks, ladies, for sharing. And, I guess with this segment, we know that Black is beautiful. No matter if you're from here, from there, it's still beautiful. It's something that we should take pride and joy in, and make sure that you see us here. We're not the only ones representing Black Girl Magic. There's other girls out there representing and doing their thing, and even like you said, Charmaine Black Boy Joy, out there doing their thing. So it's just something to keep in mind when you see each other. Just know we're together.
That's right.
All right. See you next time on Ndeipi Diaspora.